Welcome to the YouTube channel Payback Hour. I was standing in my own kitchen at 2 in the morning. Barefoot. Exhausted. And there he was, my soon-to-be ex-husband, shirtless, leaning against my counter, eating the last piece of cheesecake like it was his birthright. He didn't even notice me at first. He was humming to himself, scrolling through his phone, licking the fork between bites like a king surveying his kingdom. And that's when it hit me. I needed him gone. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. We had been together for 8 years, married for just 2. I wish I could tell you that those 8 years were full of passion and romance, that I was just blindsided by this sudden, squatter situation. But the truth is, the warning signs were there. When we first met, I was 29, and he was 32. He was an electrician, confident, capable, the kind of guy who could fix anything with his hands. I'd been through my share of flaky boyfriends, so meeting someone who actually had a stable career felt refreshing. We clicked instantly. We laughed a lot back then. He had this rugged charm, a smile that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. Within a year, he'd moved into my place. Back then, I didn't mind that it was my house and my mortgage. I was doing well for myself, and he was paying some bills here and there. At least, in the beginning. But as time passed, little cracks started to show. He'd work long hours, but when he came home, he would plant himself on the couch like he was welded there. Laundry? My job. Dishes? My job. Fixing things around the house? Ironically, still my job. When I'd ask for help, he'd either sigh dramatically, like I was asking him to rebuild the pyramids, or he'd throw out lines like, "I've been working all day, can I just relax?" I remember one night, I'd had the worst day at work, came home to find the sink overflowing because the garbage disposal had died. I asked him if he could take a quick look, since, electrician, handy guy, all that. He didn't even glance up from the TV. "Just call a plumber, babe. I'm tired." That was the night I realized I might not just have a lazy husband. I had a roommate who expected me to run the household while he coasted. By the time we got married, I was already carrying the relationship on my back. I thought maybe marriage would change things. That somehow a ring would turn him into a partner instead of an extra dependent. Spoiler, it didn't. Arguments started piling up. Chores, bills, his habit of leaving half-drunk cups of coffee all over the house like some kind of bizarre breadcrumb trail. Friends and family started dropping hints. My mom once said, "Honey, he's a nice guy, but does he contribute?" I laughed it off at the time, but deep down, I knew the answer. The breaking point came last winter. I'd been sick, fever, chills, the works, and one night the power went out during a snowstorm. I was bundled under blankets, shivering, while he sat in the dark, scrolling on his phone. "Can you at least check the breaker?" I asked. He sighed, put his phone down like I was ruining his evening, and muttered, "It'll probably come back on its own." That was it. I knew in that moment I was done. I wasn't married to a partner. I was housing a freeloader with an ego. So, I filed for divorce. I offered to give him every single penny he'd ever put into the house, which was actually a pretty decent sum. But instead of leaving with his dignity, he decided to make it hell. He refused to be served the papers. Wouldn't answer the door. Made himself conveniently unavailable when the process server showed up. And here's the kicker, because of the laws in my state, squatters have a lot of rights. Evicting him could take months. He didn't even want to be married to me. He just wanted to keep living in my house, rent-free. That's when I went to Reddit. I made a post asking for petty, legal ways to make someone so uncomfortable that they'd move out on their own. The responses were inspiring. Some suggested making noise at odd hours. Others recommended rearranging furniture daily. My personal favorite? Hide all the toilet paper and leave a single square on the roll. So, I made a plan. The TV subscription? Cancelled. His favorite streaming services? logged out, passwords changed. The pantry? All the snacks he liked went into locking containers he didn't have keys for. I moved his favorite chair into the garage for cleaning and never brought it back. The coffee maker? Unplugged and broken. I started doing laundry at 6 a.m., making as much noise as possible. He'd grumble, stomp around, make sarcastic comments about how fun I was to live with. But he didn't leave. So, I cranked it up. I started cooking meals he hated, broccoli, fish, anything with strong smells. I invited friends over for loud dinners that lasted late into the night. I'd blast upbeat music in the mornings, singing along loudly while I cleaned. At one point, I decided to renovate the living room. I moved furniture into weird places so you had to zigzag to get across the room. He tripped twice. I pretended not to notice. I invited 3 of my girlfriends to stay over for a full week. We laughed, we watched movies late into the night, we filled the bathroom with our makeup and hair products. On the 3rd night, he stormed into the living room, red in the face. "This is ridiculous. I can't live like this." I just smiled sweetly. "Oh, then maybe it's time to find somewhere else to live." Within a week, he was gone. He didn't even take everything with him, just the essentials. I changed the locks the same day. The first night alone in my house, I sat on the couch with a glass of wine, enjoying the silence. Was it petty? Absolutely. But was it satisfying? Oh, you have no idea. In the end, I didn't evict him. He evicted himself. If you're in a situation like mine, remember this. You can reclaim your space. You can reclaim your peace. And sometimes, the sweetest revenge is simply making your home yours again. If this story made you smile, smash that like button, and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying petty revenge you've ever seen? And if you love seeing karma served cold, make sure you subscribe the channel Payback Hour. Trust me, the next story will be even juicier.